Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let's discuss the Flexbox in CSS. So this is one of the important CSS feature and that every UI developer should know, because we use Flexbox on daily basis, especially the UI developer. Almost every day we use. Okay, so basically what is Flexbox? Flexbox is a way to align the items on the HTML page or the web page. Okay, like all the HTML elements that we have, like a div, text box, or any sort of forms, or any sort of whatever the content that we display on the page, all these items that we are going to align in a specific order or specific left side, right side, top, bottom, and all these adjustments that we use for the user to experience the application when they access it. So for that reason we use a Flexbox, and a Flexbox is a way to align the content on the web page. Okay, so basically Flexbox will have a flex container which is of a parent, and flex items that are part of the parent. So anything that comes under Flexbox container, so whatever the CSS that we apply to flex container, it will be applied to the container as well as its flex items. So flex items are like a children's of a flex container. Now let's write the CSS and understand this Flexbox better. So right now I have a project. I open this in Visual Studio Code. I have a folder with a CSS class as well as a main.html. Okay, so right now let me start by typing doc. So it will give the HTML template. Okay, plain HTML. We'll change the title to Flexbox tutorial. Okay, and I need to import the CSS file. Style sheet and the h reference main.css. Okay, this is how we can import the CSS class. Okay, now let me just start with the basic code, then we'll add the CSS, actual CSS. Okay, I'm adding multiple divs. I'll add this to every div. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me start this in live server. Okay, now right now, so if you see this content, it is in this order. Okay, but it is not looking good. Okay, let's first start by adding a class container. This is a parent container. Okay, now let's apply the CSS from the CSS class, the flex CSS. Okay, its name can be anything. Okay, it shouldn't be a container. Okay, so now let's add the background color for the whole container. Okay, now I added the background color. So the first property is, to use the Flexbox, we have to say display flex. Okay, if you see, as soon as I added display flex, everything went to one row instead of column. Okay, let me just remove this. See, If you want to align this content in same row, simply add display flex. It is aligned to single row. Okay, and there is no spaces, but it is aligned to single row. So display flex property is going to push the content to display in same row. Okay, within this, the next property is flex direction. Okay, it will decide the direction of whether it is a row or a column or row reverse or column reverse. Okay, let's see. So now you don't see the difference because it is in the row format. Okay, let me just add height and width to this div, all the divs. Okay, to separate them and to view it easily. Let's see, 200 and 200 pixel. Let me just give minor margin to see them properly. I added a margin, but since all these are part of the same container with yellow color and each one doesn't have any background color, that's why it is not visible properly. Okay, now let's add the background color for this, which is maybe yellow green. Okay, now you can see. So this whole piece is a flex container and each one is flex item. Okay, let's push this content to center. To push this content to center, again we have to use display flex, justify content, center. It is from left to right. So the justify content and align item center. So now the content is centered. Okay, now let's go back to the Flexbox. Now if you see the flex row, because I gave it as a row, so now right now all these flex boxes, flex items are in the row. Okay, now let's change it to column. Now you see everything is in single column. Okay, to align them in column format, you can do this with the flex direction. Now let's see column reverse. Okay, column reverse, now you are not able to see it, but it is started at the end and came to the top. Okay, now let's see row reverse so that you can see easily. It is started from the right and moved to the left. Okay, so column align the flex items in row or column. We can use flex direction. Now you have all these 5, but you want to show only 3 on the top and the leftover next. Each row you want to show only 3 items. Okay, for that type of scenario, we have to use flex wrap. Okay, it is wrapped, and now you see the floor row reverse that you can see. It is started from bottom and it went up. Okay, now let's say just row. Now you see the difference. It is started from the top, from the row itself, but it is started. But now when you say reverse, row reverse, it is reversed from the end to, it started at the 5th box and it went to first box. Okay, that's how it went in the opposite direction. The same way, even the column. Okay, you see 1 2 3 4 5. Now let's say, now make it to column reverse. Now you see 5th one is on the top, first one is at the bottom. So this is how the flex direction works. Okay, now let me just remove this and flex wrap. If I remove this wrap, if you see all these are in the same row. If you have 10, it will try to align in the same row. Instead, just wrap them to push it to the next row. Okay, for that you can use flex wrap, and within this also you can say no wrap. That means even if you give this or not, there will be no use with no wrap. Okay, so for no wrap there is no point of using it. Okay, if you see wrap reverse, now you noticed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it went in the opposite direction. Okay, now when I change it to flex wrap, it will start from 1 to 5 and space was added at the end. When I say wrap reverse, okay, it is reversed and the space came here instead of the first row, the second row. Okay, this is how it works. If you want to use the wrapper, you want to align only certain number of items in each row and push the leftover items to the next row, then that for that type of reason you can simply use flex wrap. Okay, this is how it works, the flex wrap. There is something called flex flow. It will also work the same way like flex direction, so there is no point of looking at it. Okay, now let's look at the justify content. Okay, justify content, see, let me just remove this flex wrap. Flex start, it is started at the flex start and it is started at the flex end. Now you don't see that difference. Okay, the flex start, it will start on the left side and it will move. Okay, now what I'll do is, let me just cut down couple of divs so that we can see this working. Now you can see the difference, right? Flex start meaning it is started on the left side and moving towards right side. Okay, now you can see the difference here. Now you understood the difference, right? Now let's go to flex justify content flex end. Now it is started from the right side to the left side. Okay, if you want to give equal space, okay, or you want to center align this and give the same space on the left side and right side. Okay, now you can say center. Okay, left side and right side same space and they are centered. Okay, but the left side space is more, right side space is more, and between the space is less. Okay, you want to apply the same space across left, right. Okay, now you can, if you see left, right, same spaces came, but this space, same space came from this item and this item also. For that reason you are seeing more space here. Okay, and if you want to properly align them, you can say space evenly. Now if you see, the space will be exactly same on left and right. Okay, there is one more thing called space around also. Okay, so this is how we can give space and align this to the left, right, center and with the spaces. Okay, justifying that specific content. So this is the purpose of justify content. Now let's look at align items. So let's start with flex start. Okay, let me just make some minor change. Height of 300 pixel. To see the purpose of this particular align items, we need this. That's why I'm adding it. Okay, now we have 3 different heights. Okay, align items flex start, it is started on the left side. Okay, now let's say flex end. Okay, now if you see flex start and flex end, it became opposite. Okay, let's go back to flex start. Okay, first flex box, it is on the top. So all these flex start meaning it will push all the whatever the height it is, but the items of the top side of the items will be at the same height, okay, same level. So this level, okay. Now if you say flex end, it will be pushed to the bottom. So all the items lower end will be at the same height, okay. That is the purpose. And if you have a scenario to display that like this, you can use this. And along with this, within this, if you want to align regardless of the height, you want to center align them, now you can go for this. So overall the middle content is centered regardless of the height, okay. So for that reason you can use center, and even you can say a baseline, okay. You don't see much difference, but it is also aligns. If you have too many with different heights and widths, that you can see, that's when you can see, but it will align to center, okay. And let's see the stretch, okay. Stretch also starting from the top, it is stretching. If you don't have height and width, it is automatically stretching, okay. Now let me show this when you can see this stretch difference. So you don't have any height and widths, okay, but it will automatically stretch because of the stretch, okay. If the content is more, let's try. Let me just give the width to see it better. Okay, now if you see how the stretch worked, there are 3 strings here, there is only one. Even though I didn't give any height to increase this, right, but it is stretched and all these are at the same height because of the stretch. Now if I remove the stretch, okay, now if you see the height changed. So stretch is going to automatically update the height, okay, accordingly. If you give, unless and until if you give hard coded height for each one, okay. So this is the purpose of stretch. Even if you go for baseline, okay, it is aligned to the top. So these are the options that we have in the Flexbox. So the next one is a gap, okay. Let me add gap of 10 pixel. Okay, it will apply the space gap between them, okay. Now even we can use gap on x axis and y axis, okay, this side and this side gap between the items only, okay. Or we can directly use, instead of x and y, you can say gap, sorry, only just say row gap of 20 pixel. Now if you see, the gap is added here, the row gap between these two. Now let me change it to column gap. Column gap, if you see, the gap came here, okay. Instead of giving like this, you can say directly gap row gap, okay. Let me give row gap and column gap, okay. Within single line you can give, Okay, this is how we can give the gaps between. These are the major CSS that we need to know about Flexbox. Right now, Flexbox is part of the regular CSS and it is not part of any third-part library like Bootstrap or anything. So if you want to align an items without using any library like Bootstrap, okay, or Tailwind, so with the plain CSS you can align the items on the page. Thank you. See you in the next video.